Fractions are the same thing as division. However, we choose not to evaluate them to a decimal, we choose to work with them in their fractional form. The reason that we choose to use fractions rather than decimals is that they allow us to represent numbers more compactly and exactly. That compactness allows us to be able to do multiplication and division with less computation. Any number can be converted to a fraction. All you need to do is divide it by 1. Dividing by 1 does not change the value of the number. If you have a decimal number and you want to turn it to a fraction which does not contain decimals, all you need to do is multiply both the top and the bottom by 10 or 100, etc., until the decimal point moves to the end of the number. So you are just multiplying by 1. You can simplify those fractions that you create from decimal numbers by finding a number that you can divide both the numerator and denominator by, performing that division to both the top and bottom value. After you've done that, you can repeat the process until you cannot get it to a simpler form. Most calculators also have a button to turn decimals into fractions. Multiplying fractions is quite straightforward. All you need to do is multiply the top numbers together and the bottom numbers together, and potentially you may need to simplify. To perform division, you need to find the reciprocal of the second number, and the reciprocal is just the number flipped over. After you've found the reciprocal, you can then multiply the fractions to perform the division. Addition and subtraction of fractions require you to have the same base. You can get the same base by multiplying each of the numbers by the number 1, which will not change it. The form of the number 1 should be something like 4 over 4. For adding two fractions together, an easy way to get what that number should be that you should multiply top and bottom is to look at the other term you're adding it with, look at the denominator of that term, and then multiply the term by that other number's denominator, top and bottom, and if you do that, both fractions will have the same base. After both fractions have the same base, you can just add or subtract the top values. The bottom values stay the same. Also, in the way that you write fractions, if you have the same base and things added or subtracted from each other, you don't have to write the base separately, you can combine it onto one base. Calculations with fractions can be checked on your calculator.